Hi friends, a very warm welcome to the US CMA program. My name is Siddharth Chaudhary and I'm going to be your instructor for part 2 of the CMA curriculum. I'm a corporate trainer and a consultant. I consult with Grant Thornton on multiple assignments and with VGLD on various courses. My company is a training and knowledge partner of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. I have worked with one of the big fours and then with a Fortune 100 company in India, as well as in their headquarters at New York. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through a small topic just to get you started. And today's topic is on foreign financial statements conversion to the reporting currency. So what I mean by that is, if an American company has a subsidiary in a foreign country, then at the time of consolidation, how we are going to do the foreign currency conversion of that foreign subsidiary's financials into the US reporting currency. So here we are not talking about the accounting aspects, like which method of accounting to follow, acquisition method, intercompany eliminations to be done. We are not talking about those aspects here. In this video, we are going to primarily focus on the foreign currency conversion aspect. Okay, so let me share the screen and explain it here, that if this is the balance sheet of the foreign subsidiary, which is prepared in foreign currency, which is basically the local currency of that country. So for example, if the subsidiary is in India, then the local currency of India is INR, and therefore from the American company's viewpoint, we are calling this foreign currency, right? From the American company's viewpoint, we are calling this a foreign currency. So the foreign currency is INR. Now when we have to convert this to the reporting currency is USD, because it's an American company. The financials will be filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission in US dollars. Therefore, when we are going to convert this balance sheet into a US dollar balance sheet, what steps are we actually going to take? Because it is not a simple multiplication. We are not saying that if $1 equal to, let's say, 75, just for the sake of this example, let's say if $1 equal to 75 rupees, that does not mean if if this is a $75 rupees balance sheet, it will get converted to a $1 balance sheet. It is not a simple multiplication or a division, because different items are going to be converted at different rates, right? So we have multiple items on the asset side of the balance sheet, we have multiple items on the liability side of the balance sheet, then we also have the equity. Now, if each of these items were to be converted at the same rate, then things would have been much simpler. But different items would be converted at different rates. Therefore, a $75 balance sheet need not necessarily get converted to $1. Okay, so which rate to be used for which item, that depends on the method that we are going to use for the conversion. And the method that we are going to use for the conversion depends on what kind of currency we are talking about. That means, is the local currency of that foreign subsidiary equal to the functional currency? Functional currency is the currency of the primary economic environment in which the entity operates, in which that foreign subsidiary operates. So in the case of India, local currency is also INR, and INR is also the currency of the primary economic environment in which this Indian subsidiary operates, right? Therefore, the functional currency is also INR. And then we have to convert that into the reporting currency. Now, if this is the case, then we will follow a particular method. We are moving from functional to reporting. We will follow a particular method which is called translation. But if the local currency is not the same as functional currency, and let's say the functional currency is the same as reporting currency, that means we are talking about a country where US dollar is the functional currency, okay, where US dollar is the functional currency and the reporting currency is also US dollar. Therefore, now we are talking about moving from converting the financials from local currency to functional. The moment we convert it to functional, we are already at the reporting because functional is equal to reporting. In this case, we are going to follow something which is called remeasurement method. Remeasurement method, right? So scenario number 1, local currency is equal to functional. Example, India, local currency is INR, functional currency is also INR. That means we do not have to convert to go from local to functional. We are already at functional. If the financial statements are prepared in INR, that means they are already at functional. Now we have to just take one step to convert from functional currency to reporting currency using the translation method. Scenario 2, let's take an example, Ecuador. In Ecuador, the functional currency is US dollars. That means if you go to any store in Ecuador, you go to any mall, you purchase anything, you can pay in dollars. Dollar is accepted as the normal currency. So I think in the year 2000, Ecuador scrapped its own currency, which was Secrus or something, and then they scrapped that currency and they adopted US dollar as their currency, which is also called dollarization of the economy. So they have dollarized their economy by adopting US dollar as their functional currency. Now, so in the case of Ecuador, their local currency, let's hypothetically assume that the financial statements, this American company has a subsidiary in Ecuador, and that Ecuadorian company is preparing its financial statements in Secrus, or I think it was, I don't remember the exact spelling, but it was something like this. So this is the local currency, and then you are moving from local currency, you're converting the financials from that currency to functional currency, which is USD, and then the moment you reach functional currency, you are already at the reporting currency because they are equal. Now let's take the example of where all the three currencies are different. The local is not equal to functional, so you have to convert the financials to functional and then reporting. So let's talk about some European Union country, Germany. Now Germany, local currency Deutsche Mark, but the functional currency is Euro, and then because the American company is the parent, the reporting currency is USD. So let's say here, again hypothetically, because in Germany, I think they have scrapped the Deutsche Mark and now Euro is the currency. But let's say the Deutsche Mark is the local currency and functional currency is Euro. And of course, reporting currency is USD. So here we are going to follow both. We are going to take both steps. First, we are going to convert from local to functional using remeasurement. And then we are going to go from functional to reporting using translation. Right? So depending on what kind of currency we are talking about in a particular example, we are going to decide the method. Right? So the currency determines the method that we are going to use. Are we going to use the remeasurement method or the translation method or both? Okay, so the currency determines the method, and then the method determines what rate is to be applied to which item for the conversion. That means in this example, if we are going from INR, which is the local as well as the functional, we are going from functional to reporting USD, we are using translation method. And therefore, we will have to follow the rules of the translation method. Okay, so we will look at the rules in just a moment, but this is the overview that you need to understand before we go further. Let's take the other example where you are going from the Ecuadorian currency to the US dollar, but here the functional currency is equal to the reporting currency, which is US dollar. Therefore, the method is going to be the remeasurement method. Therefore, when we convert these items, asset, liability and equity, we are going to follow the rules of remeasurement method. And then finally, when we are going from, let's say, the German Deutsche Mark to Euro and from Euro to USD, this conversion is going to be the remeasurement method. This conversion is going to be the translation method. Right? So we will use the rules of remeasurement method to convert these items into the Euro balance sheet. And then from Euro to USD, we are going to use the translation method rules to convert. Okay, so now that you have the overview, we can get into the material. So finally, before going into the material, just one more step that, of course, you don't need to do right now, but you need to know that this step is also involved. Is first of all, if we are talking about Germany, that means the financial statements, these financial statements of the German subsidiary must have been prepared using German GAAP, the German generally accepted accounting principles. So the first step is converting the financials from German GAAP to US GAAP, assuming that we are going to file the financials with the SEC under US GAAP, right? So we are going to convert from German GAAP to US GAAP, and then of course we are going to do the foreign currency conversion. The foreign currency conversion, and that foreign currency conversion basically involves remeasurement method and / or translation method, depending on what kind of currency we are talking about. And the currencies we are talking about are three types of currencies: the foreign currency, which is also the local currency of that foreign country. Then we are talking about the functional currency, and then we are talking about the reporting currency, in which the financials will be reported to the SEC, right? So local currency or foreign currency, one and the same thing. Functional currency, the second type. Reporting currency, the third type. The ultimate objective is to get it converted to reporting currency. So there are two things. One is conversion of GAAP from German GAAP to US GAAP. So conversion of GAAP. And then second step is conversion of the currency. And conversion of currency could involve remeasurement method, could involve translation method, it could involve both. Okay, let's get into the material now. So if you look here, it says the subsidiaries foreign currency financial statements. The subsidiaries foreign currency financial statements must be restated in the parent company's reporting currency. So our ultimate objective is to convert the foreign financial statements which are prepared in the foreign currency to the parent's reporting currency. The method used to restate is determined by the functional currency of the foreign subsidiary. So what is important here is to identify whether the currency that we are talking about is the functional currency of that, of that country or not. That means in the India example, we said that the local currency is already equal to the functional currency because INR is the functional currency of India. INR is the currency of the primary economic environment in which that foreign subsidiary operates. Right? So in that case, we know that if the subsidiary's financial statements are prepared in INR, we know that they are already in the functional currency. And now we have to take the step to convert it from functional to the reporting currency. That means we just have to take one step. In the second example, we said that the financial statements are prepared in the local currency of the country of Ecuador. So now we have to convert the financials from the local currency to the functional currency, which is USD. And the moment we convert it from the Ecuadorian local currency to the US dollar, we will automatically reach the reporting currency. That means, again, we will just have to take one step. And in the case of Germany, we have to take two steps. First from local currency to the functional and then functional to the reporting. So the method used to restate is determined by the functional currency of the foreign subsidiary. Steps in restating foreign financials include prepare in accordance with GAAP. So first step is convert from German GAAP to US GAAP or Indian GAAP to US GAAP or Ecuadorian GAAP to US GAAP. Second, determine the functional currency. So determine which is the functional currency, right? Is INR the functional currency? Answer is yes. Is the Ecuadorian currency the functional currency? Answer is no. Is Deutsche Mark the functional currency? Answer is no. So first determine that the currency in which the financials are prepared at this moment, the subsidiary's financials prepared at this moment, is that the functional currency of that foreign subsidiary or not? If it is not the functional currency, then the first step is to convert it to functional currency. And if it is already the functional currency, then the only step that is required is to convert the functional currency into the reporting currency. Okay. Step 3, determine the appropriate exchange rates. That means which item is to be, which exchange rate is to be applied for which item. Which rate do we use for fixed assets? Which rate should we use for our current assets? Which rate should we use for current liabilities, and so on and so forth. Or do we have to, segregate the assets and liabilities into some other way instead of fixed and, non-current and current? Do we have to segregate it in some other way like monetary assets and non-monetary assets? So determine the appropriate exchange rates. And finally, the step 4 is remeasure the financial statements and / or translate the financial statements. Okay. Now let's see what are the rules under remeasurement and translation respectively. Okay, so before we go to the rules, here is a quick summary of what we have already discussed. If you look here where I am pointing my cursor, foreign subsidiary, foreign currency, right? Foreign subsidiary, foreign currency. I'm on the first box to the left, of the page, and the arrow is going upwards. That means we are going from foreign currency, which is the local currency of that foreign country, to the functional currency using what? The remeasurement method. And in this first box, it says that the reporting currency is equal to the functional currency. That means the moment we reach functional currency, we are already at the reporting currency. This, in the examples that I gave, is the example of Ecuador. Let's say the subsidiary's financial statements are prepared in Ecuadorian currency. So we have to use remeasurement method to convert the financials from Ecuadorian currency to US dollar, which is the functional currency of Ecuador. And the moment we convert it to the functional currency, which is USD, we have already reached the reporting currency, right? So it is only a one-step conversion. Look at box number 2, which is in the middle. Here we are saying that the foreign currency is equal to the functional currency. So example, India. The foreign currency, which is the local currency of India, which is INR, is also the functional currency of India. Therefore, when the financial statements of the Indian subsidiary have been prepared in INR, that means they are already in the functional currency of India. That means we just have to take one step to convert them from functional to the reporting currency using the translation method. Finally, in the third box, we are saying that all the three currencies are different. So if you see, the arrow is going from bottom to the top, upwards. So first we are converting from foreign currency to the functional currency using the remeasurement method. And then we are going from functional currency to the reporting currency using the translation method. Okay, now let's get into the methods one by one. The remeasurement method. The financial statements are remeasured to the functional currency. First of all, when are we going to use remeasurement? When we are going from local currency to functional currency. So the financials are remeasured to the functional currency. Starting with the balance sheet. This is important. You are starting with the balance sheet. If the financials of the foreign subsidiary are not in the subsidiary's functional, that means they are in some other currency, they are in the local currency, right? So they are in Ecuadorian currency. They are not in the functional currency because functional currency of Ecuador is US dollars. So they are not in the functional currency. Therefore, we are using remeasurement method to convert them from Ecuadorian currency to the functional currency, which is US dollars, right? It says if the financials are not in the subsidiary's functional currency. That means the financials are not in USD. The financials are in Ecuadorian currency. And so we are using remeasurement method to convert the financials from Ecuadorian currency to the functional currency, which is US dollars. And we are doing that first starting with the balance sheet. That means we will convert the balance sheet, then go to the income statement. Okay. Now let me take a pause here and explain. If you start with the balance sheet, one of the items in the balance sheet in the stockholders equity section is retained earnings, right? Common stock, additional paid in capital, and retained earnings. And don't worry, we will cover all of this, in the curriculum. This is just a demo session. So one of the items is retained earnings in the stockholders equity section of the balance sheet. You will not be able to close the balance sheet without closing retained earnings, right? And you can close retained earnings only when you close the income statement, because the net income for the year will go and get added to retained earnings. Therefore, although you are starting with the balance sheet, you cannot close the balance sheet because you are not closing retained earnings until and unless you close income statement. So you start with the balance sheet, convert these items, but you cannot close the balance sheet. Then you come to income statement, you convert the income statement items, and then you get a net income. Now let's take an example. Suppose when you converted the balance sheet, this side was $1,000. Okay, after conversion, this side was $1,000, but this side was $980. Okay. Now let's say the retained earnings, the beginning retained earnings was 0. Let's assume that the beginning retained earnings was 0. There's nothing. Basically, it is 0. But this year's net income is going to get added. Now, let's say if this year's net income comes to 100. That means 0 plus 100 will become 100. That means 980 plus 100 will become 1080. Your balance sheet is not tallying. Therefore, what you need to do is you need to adjust the retained earnings so that your balance sheet tallies. That means you will have to reduce 80 from your retained earnings, minus 80, so that this becomes minus 80 and it becomes 1000. right? To reduce 80 from retained earnings, you need to reduce 80 from net income, right? That means you will have to book some expense so that your net income decreases. So what we do is we book a remeasurement loss. Remeasurement loss of 80 so that net income now becomes 20. When net income becomes 20, you just add $20 to 980 and it becomes 1000, right? So that means, one more time, you started with the balance sheet, then you went to the income statement, and then after plugging the net income number into the balance sheet, you saw whether your balance sheet is tallying or not. And if it is not tallying, then you'll have to do an adjustment to tally the balance sheet, right? And that adjustment is going to be in the form of a remeasurement loss or a remeasurement gain. So let's take the example of a gain situation. You converted these items in the balance sheet and it came to 1000. Then you converted these items, the liability items, right? And basically all the other items except retained earnings, and so in the first example we saw that we had to reduce, because the liability side was coming more, it was coming to 1080, we had to reduce the retained earnings by 80 to make the balance sheet balance, right? We had to reduce. In a gain situation, we will have to increase it. So let's say if this side is coming to 850 and then you went to the income statement and you converted your income statement and your net income is coming to 100. When you add your net income to the retained earnings, so it becomes 0, beginning balance 0 plus 100 net income for the year, it becomes 100. That means 850 plus 100 becomes 950. You still need another 50 to make your balance sheet balance. So how do you add another 50? You add 50 to retained earnings. How do you add 50 to retained earnings? By adding 50 to net income. How do you add 50 to net income? You book a remeasurement gain. Of 50. Now your net income becomes 150. So you add, instead of 100, you add 150. This becomes 150. Therefore, 850 plus 150 becomes 1000. Your balance sheet matches. Okay, so in the remeasurement method, you start with the balance sheet, then go to the income statement, number one. And number two is to make the balance sheet balance, you'll have to do an adjustment. And that adjustment will be in the income statement in the form of remeasurement gain or remeasurement loss. So that is the crux of this method. But now let's go and see which item to be converted at what rate. That is the only piece left to complete this whole puzzle. So here in the second bullet, we have the answer to that. Monetary assets like cash, marketable securities, receivables, etc. and monetary liabilities are remeasured at current exchange rate. That means at the date of the conversion, which is most likely going to be the year-end rate, because you're going to do the conversion at the year-end, right? So current exchange rate or the year-end rate. So monetary assets and liabilities at year-end rate, non-monetary assets at historical cost, stockholders' equity at historical rates, right? So, sorry, non-monetary assets which are carried at historical cost are going to be at historical rates, and also the stockholders' equity accounts are at historical rates. Okay, so monetary assets and liabilities year-end rate, non-monetary which are carried at historical cost like property, plant and equipment, and stockholders' equity at historical rate. Expenses. Now let's come to the income statement. Expenses related to assets remeasured at historical exchange rates. That means expenses that are related to a balance sheet item like property, plant and equipment. So depreciation, for example, the depreciation expense is related to property, plant and equipment which are carried at historical exchange rates. Therefore, the depreciation expense is also going to be remeasured using that same historical rate. Okay, that means any item of expense in the income statement which relates to an asset in the balance sheet which is being converted at historical rate, then the expense will also be converted at the historical rate. Other income statement items which are not balance sheet related, for example, are remeasured using the weighted average rate for the period. So here we are talking about three rates: the monetary assets and liabilities year-end rate, the non-monetary assets and stockholders' equity at historical rates. In the income statement, the expenses which are related to the balance sheet items at historical rates, and any other income statement item at weighted average rate. So we are talking about three rates here: the year-end rate, the historical rate, and the weighted average rate. Remeasurement, pass key. Remeasurement is from any currency to the functional currency, from Ecuadorian currency to US dollar, or from Deutsche Mark to Euro. Basically from any currency to the functional currency, to the currency which is the primary currency of the primary economic environment where that foreign subsidiary operates. So remeasurement method, we saw that we are going to start with the balance sheet, okay, and then in the balance sheet we are going to bifurcate the assets into monetary and non-monetary. Monetary are going to be at the year-end rate, non-monetary at the historical rate. Income statement items we are going to bifurcate into two parts: the balance sheet related items at historical rate, non-balance sheet related items at weighted average rate, right? And then stockholders equity is also at the historical rate, like non-monetary items, right? So overall, in remeasurement method, we are dealing with three types of rates: the year-end rate, the historical rate, and the weighted average rate. And we have already discussed this point, that remeasurement gain or loss will go to the income statement, and we will have to plug the currency gain or loss to get the net income to the required amount needed to adjust retained earnings in order to make the balance sheet balance, right? A slightly complicated sentence here, but we have already discussed this. What does this sentence mean? Let's go backwards. What are the last few words in the sentence? In order to make the balance sheet balance. That means in order to make the balance sheet balance, we have to do what? We need to adjust retained earnings. In order to adjust retained earnings, what do we need to do? We have to get the net income to the required amount, right? So we have to get the net income to the required amount by doing what? By plugging in a gain or a loss, which is called the remeasurement gain or remeasurement loss, which of course goes to the income statement, right? Now let's do one thing. Let's do an example. This is remeasurement. Let me let's say so here we have the balance sheet. In the remeasurement method, this is the remeasurement method that you can see on the screen. We start with the balance sheet, right? Then go to the income statement. So when we start with the balance sheet, first of all, in the exam or whenever you practice, just in your mind, quickly do a recap which rates are going to be used. So here, for the ease of reference, I have already written it on the side. Monetary assets, year-end rate. Non-monetary items, historical rate. Stockholders equity, historical rate, right? So in the original balance sheet, they have given us the local currency. I'm going to read it out quickly. Fixed assets 275,000 local currency, less accumulated depreciation 22,000 local currency. The outer column says 253,000. Then we have cash of 10,000 local currency, accounts receivable of 50,000 local currency, inventory of 95,000 local currency. Now we have to convert this from local currency to the functional currency. Therefore, remeasurement method. Therefore, we are going to use the rules of remeasurement method. Fixed assets less accumulated depreciation is a monetary or a non-monetary asset. So first of all, what are monetary and non-monetary assets? Monetary, which are going to be fixed in value, right? And non-monetary, which are going to have fluctuation in value due to inflation, deflation, other general price level changes, other factors, right? So fixed assets less accumulated depreciation is a non-monetary. Non-monetary means historical rate. Cash accounts receivable are year-end rate. They are monetary or non-monetary again. Cash and accounts receivable, they are monetary. They are going to be fixed in value. If you have cash in your company, right, hard cash in your company, that's not going to change in value, right? If you keep 100,000 of your local currency in the drawer and you keep it for 1 year, after 1 year when you open the drawer, it's going to still remain the same. It would not have changed in value, right? Accounts receivable. If your accounts receivables are supposed to give you $100,000, they will still give you $100,000 even after 6 months, or even after they pay after 1 year. They are still going to give you $100,000. They are not going to give you more because there has been inflation in the economy. They are still going to give you the same $100,000. Similarly, if you have to pay your creditors, you are going to pay the same $100,000 to them, even if you pay after 6 months. You're not going to pay them more because there has been inflation in the economy, right? So cash, accounts receivable, etc. are monetary, and therefore you're going to use the current rate, which is the year-end rate. Now, inventory, in this particular example, we have taken an assumption that, it is basically the purchases, the sales have been happening evenly throughout the year. Inventory, so we are basically using the weighted average rate for inventory. I've just highlighted it in red so that you know that it is an item that we are treating at the weighted average rate. Okay, 0.1275. So these are some of the rates that we have taken. Year-end rate as 0.1, historical rate at 0.18, and weighted average at 0.1275. So we convert these items. Then we go to the liability side, we convert the accounts payable, we convert the long-term debt. Okay, we also convert the common stock at the historical rate. What we do not convert is the retained earnings, right? So retained earnings, we cannot close the balance sheet without converting retained earnings. So now at this stage, if you look at the balance sheet, in the functional currency, it is coming to 63,653 on the asset side, whereas on the liability side, it is coming to 52,600. That means we need another 11,053. We need 11,053 to make the balance sheet balance. Now let's go to the income statement. Income statement, sales at the weighted average rate, depreciation at historical rate, because depreciation relates to an item, of fixed asset, which is converted at historical rate. Therefore, depreciation will also be at the historical rate. Cost of goods sold, as I said, it is evenly spread throughout the year. The purchases, sales, etc. are all evenly spread throughout the year. So we are using weighted average rate. And then all the other items of the income statement are also at the weighted average rate. So now we convert all these items and then we get the net income of 4,200 in the functional currency column. But we need 11,053 to make the balance sheet balance. That means, let's quickly do it over here. If we need 11,053, 11053 to make the balance sheet balance, and our net income is coming to 4,200, that means we further need 11,053 minus 4,200, which is 6,853. Additional 6,853, so that we get the retained earnings to the desired amount to make the balance sheet balance. So that means we will have to book a remeasurement gain of 6,853. Okay. Now see, our net income comes to 11,053. And here, the net income comes to 11,053. And now when I add 11,053 to retained earnings, the balance sheet tallies, it becomes 63,653 on the liability side as well. Okay, so what did we do in remeasurement method? Number one, we started with the balance sheet. Then we went to the income statement. Number two, we converted the balance sheet items based on the remeasurement rules, remeasurement method rules, like monetary items we converted at year-end rate, non-monetary items we converted at historical rate, stockholders' equity we converted at historical rate, right? Then we went to the income statement, we converted the income statement items, then we got the net income. When we saw that the net income is 4,200, whereas we need 11,053, that means we need 6,853 extra, right? So we booked a remeasurement gain of 6,853 so that our net income becomes 11,053 and our balance sheet tallies, right? Here, of course, the beginning retained earnings was 0, right? Beginning retained earnings was 0. The net income for the year was 42,000. Therefore, the retained earnings was showing in local currency as 42,000. The beginning retained earning was 0, right? When we converted this entire income statement, this 42,000 local currency net income got converted to 4,200 functional currency net income. But we needed not 4,200, we needed 11,053. Therefore, we added another 6,853 by way of booking remeasurement gain, and then our balance sheet tallied. Okay. Now, let's go to the other one, which is the translation method. And when do we use translation method? When we have to go to the reporting currency, right? So if you look at the first bullet, the financial statements are translated to the reporting currency, and see, starting with the income statement. That's a difference between the two methods. In remeasurement, we start with the balance sheet. In translation method, we start with the income statement. If the financials of the foreign subsidiary are in subsidiary's functional currency, that means if the financial statements are already in the functional currency. Okay, so let's say if the functional currency is euro and the financials are already in euro, then we use the translation method to convert the financials from euro to the reporting currency, which is US dollars, right? Or in the case of India, if the financial statements are prepared in INR, that means they are already in the functional currency, right? That means we are going to use the translation method to convert it from functional currency INR to reporting currency USD. Starting with the income statement, and here what are the rules? All the assets and liabilities are translated at the current exchange rate. So all the assets and liabilities at the year-end rate, the current exchange rate is the year-end rate. Stockholders' equity at the historical rate. Okay, so we are done with the balance sheet. All assets and liabilities year-end, stockholders' equity historical, balance sheet done. Now come to income statement. Income statement translated at weighted average exchange rate for the current period. So take the weighted average. So here again we are talking about year-end, historical and weighted average. So 3 rates here as well. Okay. All right. Translation is from functional currency to reporting currency. Now let's look at a translation example. In translation, we start with the income statement. And here, what are the rules? All income statement items at weighted average. All income statement items at weighted average. So this is far easier. For all the items, we just blindly multiply that with 0.1275, right? And we get a net income of 5,355. Now in the retained earnings, we have plotted 5,355, right? And in the balance sheet, we have converted the items, all assets at year-end rate, all liabilities at year-end rate, stockholders' equity at historical rate, right? So year-end rate 0.1, all assets and liabilities, stockholders' equity, which is common stock over here, at historical rate. Now we see that our asset side is 40,800, okay, in the reporting currency, 40,800, whereas the liability side is 57,955. That means our liability side is far greater at this moment. So what do we need to do? We have to reduce the liability side by 17,155 so that our balance sheet matches. Now, to reduce it by 17,155, we will have to do an adjustment in the accumulated OCI. In the accumulated OCI, that means we are going to do this in the other comprehensive income. So let's plot this negative 17,155. And now if you see, our balance sheet on the liability side also is 40,800. Okay, so now our balance sheet matches. So if you notice here, the differences between the two methods, let me do a quick recap over here. First, in the remeasurement method, translation method. First, we start with balance sheet. Start with balance sheet. Here we start with income statement. Number 2, we plug the difference. In the remeasurement method, we plug the difference in the income statement, right, as a remeasurement gain or remeasurement loss. In the translation method, we plug the difference in the balance sheet under AOCI. Correct? Those are basically the two main differences. And of course, the main difference is conversion, when you are going from, so when to use the method, when to use, that itself is of course different. When you are going from the local currency or the foreign currency to the functional currency, then you use remeasurement method. And when you go from functional currency to the reporting currency, you use the translation method, right? So these are the three major differences in the two methods, right? So I hope that you enjoyed the session. You learned how the foreign subsidiaries financials are converted eventually to the reporting currency. The reporting currency is the currency in which the financials are going to be submitted to the, let's say, to the Securities and Exchange Commission, right? So obviously we are talking about the US CMA program. So naturally we are talking about from a US standpoint, from a US point of view. So from the American company's point of view, we are talking about, this entire discussion we are having from the American company's point of view. So this American company is going to submit its financials to the Securities and Exchange Commission under what? Under US GAAP and in US dollars, right? That means we are saying that the foreign financial statements, the foreign subsidiaries financial statements are going to be converted to US GAAP and are going to be converted to USD, US dollars. To convert to US dollars, we saw that we have to follow the remeasurement method or the translation method depending on what is the functional currency of the foreign subsidiary, right? So in the India example, we saw that the functional currency is already INR. The local is also INR, the functional is already INR. Therefore, when the financials of the foreign subsidiary have been prepared and in INR, they are already in the functional currency of India. Therefore, we just have to convert it of course from Indian GAAP to US GAAP, and then from INR to USD, and in terms of the method from functional to reporting, therefore translation method. And similarly for, you will have to determine for other subsidiaries that this American company might have in different countries. For which subsidiary you have to follow translation, for which subsidiary you have to follow remeasurement method. Right? So I hope you enjoyed the session, and I will see you when the main classes for part 2 starts. So happy learning and see you soon. Thank you.